Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in YouTube, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend, YouTube videos such as these will affect you in the future. You are interested in comedy, drama, action, horror, movies for kids, movies for mom and dad. That is why you are here, and now, for the 60th anniversary of the best worst film ever made, a review by 4 miserable souls. In this terrifying review, my friend, can your heart stand the shocking facts about Plan 9 from outer space?
Okay, so this Monday is the 60th anniversary of Plan 9 from Outer Space. One of my favorite films. It's in my top 50 favorites because I found this very inspiring in a very strange sort of way. This was the original worst film of all time because it was in a book called the Golden Turkey Awards.
And speaking of the worst movie of all time, it's also the 1-year anniversary of rental reviews, so stay tuned to the end of the episode for a little celebratory thing.
One year of the worst movie reviews.
I mean, it was weird. We were just people who wanted to rent VHSs, and somehow we started a show. I don't know how that happened. Is that good for your business?
The thing about Plan 9 is that it was the original worst movie. Now, for real, the worst movie would have to be something that is not entertaining, because as long as it's entertaining, it can't be the worst film.
Right.
So it wasn't even the worst film back then. It's not even Ed Wood's worst movie.
Oh, yeah. Night of the Ghouls is pretty terrible compared to this one.
Night of the Ghouls is far worse than Plan 9.
It's barely a movie.
Yeah. Nevertheless, Plan 9 was the first movie to open up the idea of there even being a worst movie. Because before that, Citizen Kane, that was the best film of all time, right? And actually, Ed Wood wanted to be like Orson Welles, you know, to write, shoot, and direct and act.
Ah, the French champagne.
He found fame in his own way of getting this worst movie. And the thing is, I'm going to compare it to somebody we know, Nathan Barnett. He has the lowest score recorded for some video game where he has like a negative score.
Donkey Kong Jr.
Is that what it was?
At Fun Spot, actually.
And he said something to us. He said, who decided that up is always the way to go? Why not go down? Why not strive for the worst? And Plan 9 is something that it changed it. It opened up a fork in the road. You can make the best movie or the worst movie.
That's the mantra I live by every day of my life.
And isn't that all we talk about now? Like on YouTube, it's always the best this or the worst that. It's always the best and the worst.
It's never in the middle. This is the middle movie right here.
Somebody's got to strive for the middle movie.
That's the new. No one has gone it. That's the new frontier. The middle movie.
Nobody's gone middle.
Worst. Middle. It's not that good. It's not that bad.
It has to be as mediocre as possible.
It has to be as mediocre as possible. Just flatline, middle, plateau ass movie. So I want to talk about all the reasons why Plan 9 should have been a classic, or why it is a classic.
Right.
Okay.
First of all, it combines gothic horror with Atom Age horror. So you got the old school, you got, the vampire with the cape over his face.
That's
and then
totally Bela Lugosi. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
which
it's
of
totally
course was
him.
This is Bela Lugosi's final movie.
Yeah.
He died before filming was complete. He actually died in *56. The movie didn't get released till '59.
And he's in the whole damn movie.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. No,
he's great.
She is not. He replaced him to fill in the rest of the scenes with his wife's chiropractor. So that's why he's covering his face all the time. But anyway, the movie's about aliens resurrecting the dead from a cemetery. So it basically combines two genres. Like you have this gothic horror and this like sci-fi alien. And it's very similar to what George Lucas did with Star Wars. He was combining this Eastern and Western, Western gunslinging with samurai.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Zatoichi and Western movies.
Yeah.
the
Hidden Fortress, I
gunslinging.
think.
So Plan
Yeah.
9 should have been a classic. It cast this wide net.
Oh, why? Yeah.
But it was ahead of its
Here's
time.
here's
was,
the
yeah.
difference, James. You don't see the fishing wire on the ships in Star Wars.
But you should. No,
You do see, if you watch the original, you see the bounding box around.
also, it's one of the early zombie movies.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
of course, there was a lot before. There was White Zombie, that was 32. But this is still kind of ahead of its time where zombies are killing people, even though they're not. They don't kill many people. It's a very
Very
There's
unsuccessful.
only 3 zombies.
Yeah,
there's
in the
only
whole
3.
movie.
Yeah, when are we going to
So-
get into talking about the actual
So-
Plan 9? Because I feel
well,
like it's a very flawed plan.
Not to mention, this is the 9th one. They did 1 through 8 already, so we don't even know what those were.
you gotta
be
also
fair,
understand.
Yeah, let's wait for the plan. Yeah.
Reasons why it should be a classic. The Ghoul, it brought back Lugosi in the Dracula cape for the final time. Like, that was kind of a
Yeah.
big deal. Like, when you bring back
From
an
his
old
stage
actor.
play days.
The
cape was
the
from when he
cape,
was- yeah.
I believe, was from his. That's a whole other topic, but yeah, I think
yeah.
it was the cape from his stage days, which may be the one he's buried in. I'm not sure. Even though Lugosi was not popular at this time, he had already been, he was kind of washed up, which the movie Ed Wood goes into a lot further.
Yeah.
But still, anyway, it was Lugosi's final movie. Isn't that a big thing
Yeah.
for itself? Vampira, aspiring female horror icon. She was a prelude to Morticia and Elvira.
Elvira.
So that look that Vampira has is such an iconic look.
Yeah.
Then you have Tor Johnson, who's a wrestler.
Yeah.
What a great face he has.
Yeah.
That when you
Scary.
pair him, Vampira, and Lugosi up, it's just this it's this great motley crew lineup of just different kinds of horror characters. And
I believe they made a mask based off his face, and it was like
Yeah,
a bestseller for like years.
Yeah, they say that at the end of Ed Wood.
Yeah.
and George Steele, who plays Tor Johnson in Ed Wood, who autographed that magazine for me right there.
George
He
the
did-
Animal Steel.
George the Animal
Yep.
Steel. He even said that, it was kind of a backhanded compliment when they said I look good for this movie, but then I found out I'm playing Tor Johnson, who was the first actor, the first horror actor to not have to wear
man.
makeup.
Who found them?
The man and girl.
Medical examiner been around yet?
Also, this is the only Ed Wood movie, I believe, where he has lines of dialogue. He always played like a mute in all the other Ed Wood movies.
Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah,
they
because
give
he
him
plays
way
the
more lines
detective.
than-
Because they play as the detective, Inspector Clay. He has all these lines you can't understand.
Yeah.
half
I'm
of
gonna
them.
look around while.
Yeah, I had to watch this when I first saw this movie.
We'll get
for
into the
this.
flubs later,
Yeah.
and negatives, but yeah.
But no, his so when he's talking, and he comes out and he's like, oh yeah,
I'm a big boy now, Johnny.
yeah, and he's like, hey man, it's pretty dark out there. You're not going to be able to see in front of your face. I'm going to get a flashlight out of car.
I will get one of the flashlight from the patrol car.
Okay, be careful, Clay.
I'm a big boy now, Johnny.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
There's one line
Like-
that I actually don't know what he says. Where he's like, knock around a while.
I think he says
I'm gonna look around a while.
Is that what he said?
I thought he said, "I'm
Okay.
gonna knock
It comes
around
out.
a while."
It comes
Like
out.
he's
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna knock around a while.
Anti-war message.
Okay.
Not totally unique because they did it in the day the Earth stood still, 8 years prior. But in this movie, it has a pretty unique concept of humanity is about to invent this more powerful bomb called the Solarbanite or whatever.
Solaronite, yeah, or
Solarnite or
whatever.
whatever, where it explodes the sunlight.
particles. Yeah, which is insanely
Yeah.
scary to think about.
Sunlight
It's
atoms, which isn't
Which,
a thing.
please
Yeah.
tell me they are not thinking of that right now. And we're
So the aliens are trying to basically save the rest of the universe. So they have a reason for trying to conquer Earth. It isn't just like, oh, we want to take over the planet. So I think that already is like,
Yeah.
it's on the what's the word? Like it's on the cuff. It's on the. It's
Cutting edge.
I mean,
It's-
nowadays this movie seems like it should be more poignant than it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it
especially
really
in this
does.
day and age of
Yeah.
the atomic age and of the mechanical age that we live in.
yeah. So I'm
me tell you.
like, how could this be the worst film? Anyway, it predated the French New Wave with a naturalistic type of filmmaking. So a lot of the French New Wave kind of did stuff that Plan 9 did, because there's a lot of shots in there which it's very just like they just shot like a car driving down the road or whatever, like, which leads into a whole other thing because it's such a mismatched style, this movie. Like there's shots that are very realistic where it's just kind of shooting a street corner or whatever, and then you're inside a studio with a black backdrop and fog, and
when they're at the funeral scene and they're in the mausoleum,
the clown car.
Oh, they all come out.
People come out. Yeah, and it's just like, and then the death of the old man, and they open it and like 8 people walk out, and I remember I was watching like, are all those people like in there? Like,
it's like
what is
smaller
going
than
on?
a porta potty.
Yeah,
it's
so
tiny. Like,
I was gonna say, I looked it up yesterday. The woman in that scene who finds the bodies, I think she's still alive. I think she's the only cast member from this movie who's still alive.
One?
The wife of the guy when they come out of the mausoleum.
Who is the worst actor in the movie? It's because
You'll be afraid if you found something.
So why did they bury him in here? Like every line she says is just so.
But apparently she's still alive according to IMDb.
Wow,
that's
awesome. Yeah. So the last major positive I want to say is that it's a pioneer of low budget filmmaking, not just low budget, like ultra low budget.
Yeah.
This shows that anybody could do it. Like, because Ed Wood didn't care that he didn't have as much money as the major studios. He just did it anyway.
Yeah.
So whenever you see the saucer and you can see the string and there's a shadow on the clouds behind it, it's like, that's just a symbol of what would have been there if he had the money. So it's basically he's saying like not to limit your imagination, just go for it. And that's the message I took from this movie that inspired me to make movies.
At the same time, he could have made a little bit of better movie. So
you say that with someone who has Premiere, After Effects, Flash, all these things.
This is the 50s.
Available to us, yes. And this is something you have to splice film. You have to draw over film.
That was the worst. I had to do that in college.
And when that saucer explodes at the end, like, they didn't just drop in and explode.
Yeah, they probably put a firecracker in that thing or something.
I think first there was I think first they lit it on fire, but then they superimposed an explosion. But still, to superimpose on film, it was so much different. You had to have 2 film strips, 2 different things, and it was like this optical printer thing.
Yeah.
It's hard talking about this movie without talking about Ed Wood.
The movie
the Tim Burton film,
which is in my top 10.
Yeah, and I will say it's in mine as well. I never saw it until I watched Plan 9, and immediatty after I watched Ed Wood, and the entire movie I was captivated by Ed Wood.
What's funny,
I felt awful about laughing about
that. Came out in 92?
94,
yeah.
And then Mars Attacks came out like the next year or the year after that. And the whole opening reminds me of Mars Attacks, the music and the...
I love Forrest Gump also, but I feel like Ed Wood should have won Best Picture that year.
Yeah.
I think so, because not only
it didn't win. I'm surprised it didn't.
It won Best Oscar.
Well, it won Best Makeup and Supporting Actor.
Best Actor.
Martin Landau as Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, he was so good.
But I mean, Forrest Gump is a movie that takes a lot of real history, but it's a fictional character. Ed Wood is a movie about a real person.
Yeah.
However, it's the rest of the style is very stylish and unnatural.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
they're different movies, is what I'm saying.
And let me tell you, Bill Murray in that damn movie.
The day to night shots are awful.
The day to night stuff is so weird. The way, there was never any movie like this at the time where the day and night scenes just don't match. But it's not just that. It's like you go from night to day, from Lugosi to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
And then from new footage to stock footage, and it just throws it all together, and and that's the way Ed Wood, especially in Glen or Glenda, he just took stock footage and
that movie's 90% stock footage,
and he would just throw all kinds of images together. He was really inventing his own kind of montage style filmmaking that was just kind of like his own art form in a way.
Very Eisenstein with the Battleship Potemkin, you might say.
I wouldn't. Instead of showing Battleship Potemkin, I'll show Plan 9.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was going to say, one of my favorite things about the movie is really great set design, like the cockpit to the plane, which is a curtain. A little wooden thing, and then the clipport. The most important thing in a plane is the clipboard.
And then you see the shadow of the boom mic when the
UFO comes by. In the movie when he says hey, Mr. Wood, where is the airplane scene?
Yeah.
Or the airplane scene,
right
you're
here.
standing in it. And it's like they're setting it up.
Also, there's
as
an
he comes
interview
in.
with the actor. There's an interview from like the 90s, or I could talk about that later too.
Yeah.
But like where he talks about walking in and just seeing like everything was in like this one small area. And it was like there was like the backyard, and then there was like the cockpit, and it was like, and he was like, oh, this looked like a high school play or something. You know?
I also liked, the aliens are very advanced. They use wooden tables with 2 radios, and their curtain is much bigger than the humans' curtain on the airplane.
It's like Tesla.
Yeah, it's a shame that this came out like, because I guess sci-fi back then they wanted to look futuristic and clean and neat. But like if this came out like around like kind of like Star Wars, Alien, he could have just got like a bunch of stuff from a junkyard to make it look more futuristic.
Maybe, yeah.
But instead he's trying to go for this like metal look, and it's just wood that's painted with curtains everywhere.
I don't think people thought like the way we do now.
The clouds out the window, like they look out the window and there's these painted clouds, but then it cuts to what he's looking at, and it's like nighttime.
The thing is, I don't think people thought, like, nowadays, if you want to make a film, you can go anywhere in this area. You can find things to make a film, to get props, to get whatever machinery you need. Back then, you wanted to make a film, you go to Hollywood. You go to California. You're not going to find just whatever you need. There weren't independent filmmakers back then. You needed cameras.
He was
you all these
filmmaking
things.
rebel. Like, he was really just like,
guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah, he fight for his vision, from the fundraisers and everything. And people try to tell him, do it this way or that way. He just stuck to his vision. And we'll get into this later too, but like he didn't get famous until after his death, which was unfortunate. So the tombstones falling, that's obviously like one of the big ones. Is like you can see the tombstones fall. There's like one shot where it like wiggles when the cape comes by, but the shot where it falls is like one of the cross-shaped ones in the scene where the UFO flies overhead and everybody like falls away.
I had one question because I watched this. I've seen this movie a million times, but last night just for the sake of being different, I watched the color version. Is the shadow on the black backdrops more noticeable in the color version?
It may be.
Yeah,
you know what? You want to talk about another thing about the color version, and if you watch the black and white version, that's like whatever version is on Amazon. It may be Prime or
I think it's the one I have. The one that's
that by Legend.
Yeah.
Okay, it may be that. It's whatever is this newest version of the movie. They did a little weird things where for some reason
added stuff.
They added little things in it.
So did you the superimposed grave sites? There's a part where the clay dies, and there's a grave right next to him that has a name superimposed
Paula and Russell.
On. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I wonder who Paula and Russell were. Maybe
so that's
just
what
like,
I was wondering. I was like, what the?
And then later on in the girl's bedroom, for one shot, the picture in the middle of 2 other pictures is 2 people.
It's changed.
I looked into it. At the very end of that DVD, they give a special thanks to those people.
Okay.
I think the rumor is like...
was it Paula and Russell?
Yeah. It was like that. I think the rumor is that those were people who, there was like some eBay auction to get into the movie or something. So they were people who probably threw money at that restoration. And that was like their little gift. They threw like 2 Easter eggs to them.
To the people who helped make it restored.
It's weird how they did it, but
I will say the restoration looks really good.
The restoration looks great, but then they do those 2 things, and it's like, what the fuck is this?
You don't usually see movies get altered.
And it's like, superimposed to the point where it's wiggling. I didn't notice like films. Dude, I saw it and I was like, what is that? Like, I was watching it with Abner, and Abner's like, what's up with the name on that? I'm like,
Kieran.
Abner is one of my roommates. Me and him watch real bad movies together. We laugh and we cry together.
There's so many moments in this movie that you don't pick up on until later. Like, I'm always noticing something new. There's the one part where the one guy is entering the car through the passenger side for no reason whatsoever.
I said the same thing when I saw that.
Yeah. And I never noticed until I saw the Riff Tracks version, which is great.
Yeah.
They point that out. And I was like, oh yeah, why is he going through the passenger
when
side?
He's leaving the house to go to like fly the plane.
And meanwhile, in that same exact moment, he says to the girl, he says, oh, make sure to leave the urine lights on.
If you're especially nice, I may even lock the side door.
And be sure you keep the yard lights on.
I heard the urine lights, and then
the urine lights.
He says urine lights.
I watched it with someone, and I said urine lights, and they know he said the yard light.
Yeah, I put the subtitles on, and it's yard lights, but
it sounds like urine light.
He slurs like, I put the yard lights on, and then. But Ed Wood wouldn't have been like, hey, can you say that line again?
Like, that was perfect.
That was perfect. That's it.
He's counting how much film he has. He's like,
oh my God.
Yeah, to be honest, he probably didn't have money for a second take because film was so expensive. It was just like, okay, well, that was good enough. Let's move on. Like, he didn't have a choice. And then, who thinks a UFO, a flying saucer, is shaped like a huge cigar?
I thought...
So apparently,
I'm really glad we're talking about
it. Apparently, that was like a thing. Like pilots would talk about seeing UFOs shaped like cigars and stuff. So that was kind of like based on real reports. But you're right. In his movie, he's using flying saucers. Yeah. So why did he have his actors refer to it as cigars?
If he seeds them exactly horizontal,
it looks like a big cigar with a bump in the middle of it that goes up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I didn't get either. I was like, why a cigar? Like a spinning cigar that's spinning so fast it looks like a...
That would be like, maybe it's because they built the UFOs later, and maybe they were going to... That'd be like if you're watching Star Wars, and like you see the Death Star, it's a ball, but then Luke's like, oh, they're over by that big cube. Like, that's that kind of...
That's actually probably what really happened.
That's probably,
because that happened to Giant Claw. Nobody knew what that monster looked like.
They probably wouldn't be scared of it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, trivia, contrary to the movie Ed Wood, which has its inaccuracies, the flying saucers were not paper plates, nor were they hubcaps. They were from a hobby shop. They were flying saucer models.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The part I always thought was really weird was the fence in the background. And you can see it the first time when they're in the backyard. Yeah. The fence is just like...
It's wiggly. It's like my girlfriend pointed out yesterday. She's like, "What's going on with that fence?" It's like they painted it on, but they like were uneven with it.
I mean, but it looks like a real wooden fence where the wood beams are just twisted and gnarled.
It was probably a fucked up fence that Ed Wood got for cheap.
I guess, but how does a fence get fucked up like that? Because I can understand, like, okay, it was cheap. They didn't have the money. But still, where could you get a fence? It would cost more to mangle the fence to make it look like that.
Bad,
Why is it like that?
I think he just grabbed an old fence from somewhere that was all screwed up. That's all I can think of.
That was in town that was like, your fence is pretty bad. I'll pay you like this much for it. And the guy's like, whatever, dude. Totally cool.
How did it get mangled like that? It's an impossible shape.
You got a bunch of cows and like other livestock.
I don't know why.
Fucking it up.
Why does every background behind someone have a wrinkle on it? The part where like the general's like watching the UFOs, there's just wrinkles behind them.
I was like,
look at plain white background.
I was like, look at the he has like wrinkles in the thing behind him, like he's on a horrible screen, and he's like, shoot those missiles, boys. And they're like, oh, look at us shooting missiles. I like when they're flying around NBC and CBS, and it's like...
Oh, and everybody points out the window. Flying saucers seen over Hollywood.
CBS, and it's like with the fishing line, like trying to...
Yeah, what was that him trying to be like, hey, we put your building in the movie, you should pay us the money.
Put us on the
and that's
TVs.
One thing I found out, too. Like, when you're directing a crowd of extras and you say, okay, everybody point up at the sky or something, and everybody points, it looks really silly. So my assistant director on the Nerd movie, Brandon, had this idea where he'd say, like, oh, everybody whose name starts with the letter A to L, put up your hand or something, and then it would look more natural and scattered.
That's kind of clever, yeah.
Like if there's a drinking game, like just drink every time the officer says, yeah.
Oh, it looks like a bobcat tore into them. Yeah. Is he dead? Yeah. Don't forget that torn nightgown and the scratched feet. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Is that the officer who doesn't know how to hold a gun?
Is he the one?
No, that's the trench
coat.
Okay, the gun thing. Like, there's this one guy in a trench coat who's just pointing the gun carelessly around at everybody as he's talking.
He's
head.
Huh.
He's like, darn it!
And proof that you're not supposed to do that. In the movie, the remake of Plan 9, which I'm in, I play. I play basically what would be Conrad Brooks's role. I'm just the unnamed police officer.
Okay.
So we called it officer, cop, policeman. And there was this scene where they were real guns, but they were on, they weren't loaded. There was a weapon wrangler on set, so everything was done, professionally. The only times they were loaded was with blanks sometimes, but most of the time we were just carrying empty guns. So I was kind of just referencing the original movie where I was kind of like pointing the gun like at myself like that, and the weapon wrangler said to me like, no, don't do that. So that's just proof that when they did, it makes Plan 9 even funnier when you look at that movie and you're like, well, he really should not have been doing that.
You can't even reference it.
Yeah.
Calvin?
Yes, sir?
You back up the car and get on the radio.
Beautiful, print it.
She was hysterical. Well, true, she was frightened and in a state of shock. But don't forget that torn nightgown and the scratch.
That was perfect.
So there's also that weird honking sound that's always in the background.
Oh, the honking sound that follows Bela Lugosi around. It's like womp womp.
Yeah, it's like wow 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 wow.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of like
it's supposed to be like his control beam or something.
Really?
I thought that was like something going on outside my house when I was listening to it. And I was like, is it because alarm on?
Because they said something like, send him over there to kill the people in the backyard or whatever. And when he gets closer, like, do you hear that?
Hey, do you hear anything?
It's the noise of him coming. Like, it's like you hear that wah, wah, wah. Yeah.
But either way, it's such a strange sound. And with that and the weird like shots with the black backgrounds, and then just it cuts back and forth between things that don't make sense. It just creates this weird atmosphere that the best I heard it described was in the documentary. They said whatever time of day you watch this movie, it always feels like 3 a.m.
It's also really not to say boring, but like when the aliens start having big conversations about stuff, the movie starts dragging real hard. Compared to when
their explanation of solar night goes on for so long. Yeah, really you explained it better earlier. Yeah. It lights up. It's a thing that explodes light and blows up the sun.
Yeah, got it. Particles that come from the sun, if it lights, it's going to drag back like gasoline.
The whole scene, he's explaining it as if he's explaining to this dumb Earthling, where he's just like. Where the aliens are always supposed to be like superior technology and like they're like intelligent. So he's going through this whole scene being so intellectual and explaining like the way atoms work and everything, and then all of a sudden with when the Earth guy Trent like, or whatever he goes,
then we'd be an even better country than we are now.
And then he goes, stronger. You see, your stupid mind.
Yeah,
stupid.
So what if we do develop this solar bomb? We'd be even a stronger nation than now.
Stronger. You see? Your stupid minds. Stupid.
That's all I'm taking from you.
Get back here, you fool!
Like and then the human out.
And then the human punches the alien. So it's like the alien spent all that time being intellectual just to go down to like a children's
scene of the whole movie.
And you know what's funny?
That scene.
I heard that scene years before I saw the movie because in Halloween H2O, when Joseph Gordon-Levitt, when the nurse finds him dead, that scene's playing in the background.
Oh, really?
You see, your stupid mind.
Jimmy.
Stupid.
I remember I was always like, you stupid mind. I'm like, what is that? Then when I saw Plan 9, I was like, holy shit,
when I was watching that, I was watching that with Abner.
Yeah.
And me and him were like crying. And he's like, your stupid mind. Stupid.
Can we talk about the aliens' plans?
Go ahead. One.
You mean there are 9 plans?
So there's 9 plans, and the 9th plan is if plans 1 through 8 don't work, to teach the humans not to be dickbags and make the ultimate bomb of the universe, we should then raise their dead, and so they believe that we're there and whatever. But they only raised 3 dead, so they're really bad at it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, why didn't plans 1 through 8 work? What was 1? Show up?
Yeah.
And I mean, plan 8 was clearly send them.
They failed. Plans 1 through 8 failed so bad the humans don't even know about them.
Oh yeah. Plan 8 was to fly all over the cities in Washington D.C. and stuff. I thought it worked. Random people were seeing it.
I'm just going to say this.
Wait, real quick. The one part of Plan 9 is like, we'll shoot a ray and it'll disintegrate them, and the humans will be astounded by what they see. And then it happens, everyone's like, huh, look at that, there's a skeleton. Like, no one gives a shit.
On top of that, they're like, we will shoot this ray. The humans will see, they will be astounded. they do that, and then later on they're like, don't let the humans know who we are, even though our whole plan was to show them who we are, so they stop being assholes and trying to blow up the universe.
Oh, man.
First, okay, so what's Plan 10? Because Plan 9 doesn't
there
work
was
out.
a movie, Plan 10, actually.
Really?
There was a Plan 10 from outer space. Yeah.
So
no, it
So
there was.
What happens in that?
Oh, that's for another time.
Okay. So Plan, did you make it?
No, I didn't.
We fuck everyone on Earth.
Plan 9. So
it's like a comedy. Plan 10 is like a comedy.
Plan 9 didn't work out, and they blew up one of the UFOs. But the mothership and the 2 other UFOs and the halberd guy are still alive. Aren't they going to be like, oh, well, I guess we'll just wipe the humans out?
For one thing, so he punches the guy. Who
turns green in the colored version.
Blows up the thing. The woman's like, I'm gonna help us. I'm gonna help us by flying a flaming ship into the air. She flies the flaming ship into the air. They all get out. The guy is like, I'm unconscious. Please help me.
She's screaming. It's unsettling how much she's screaming.
To the point where they fly the ship and explode. Like...
And then, of course, you have Criswell. We got to mention Criswell, who is the psychic. And he's just
Criswell.
Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend, future events such as these will affect you in the future.
All his lines in it just don't make any sense. He's talking about the past and the future. It's like
the people will be on Mars by 1978.
In the movie, Ed Wood is played by Jeffrey Jones.
1974.
Oh, was it 1974?
Yeah.
Whoa,
he was off.
Like, he's talking about the future, and then he's like, well, what happened on that fateful day? It's like, well, wait, you're talking about the past, or was it the future? It's like, they would say that Ed Wood was, when he wrote these scripts, like, he wrote them really fast, and he would just be writing away on his typewriter while talking on the phone. He'd have people over, the TV's on. Like, he kind of just was surrounded by distractions, and that's just the way he worked. Like, he was just constantly just fast-paced, just go. And what you get is what you get. That's just what it is. There is an Ed Wood box set on DVD, and I mean, it's pretty old now. To my knowledge, this is the best one I remember. But it includes some documentaries on here. I think it has it has one called The Haunted World of Ed Wood Jr. It probably has the Look Back in Anger one, but the documentary I would recommend, which is on the Plan 9 from Outer Space DVD as a bonus feature. So it's on this DVD. I don't think it's streaming anywhere. The documentary is called, it has 2 titles. On this DVD, it's called Flying Saucers Over Hollywood, The Plan 9 Companion. The VHS tape was called The Ed Wood Story, Plan 9 Companion. So whatever it is, look for the Plan 9 Companion. I don't know where you could find it now. Hopefully it's on YouTube or something. I doubt it. It's not streaming anywhere. Like, there's no like digital way to rent it. I've never found it, but I highly recommend this because, first of all, the documentary, it's longer than the movie Plan 9, and it just digs into all the funny, like, trivial things. It has interviews with a lot of people.
That came out after Ed Wood, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. It probably came out,
the same time, like, everyone was trying.
Oh, no, before, 92.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of the people who were in Plan 9 are still alive, and they interviewed a lot of them.
Oh.
And it's a really good documentary. I would love to visit this place someday, but the studio where Ed Wood filmed Plan 9 is behind an alley, behind a bar, Gold Diggers. And apparently Ed Wood used to drink at the bar every day, like, while he was filming the movie.
So we could go and drink there and then go film
exactly.
it. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and the studio's been redone. It's been like all like modernized. They fixed it up, real good. You could rent, rooms in there to record like music or whatever. Cool. I don't know which, like, I would love to visit
that. Is this like your Abbey Road studio?
Yeah, because it's almost like it has this mysterious quality, because Ed Wood literally his filmmaking was off the grid, because it's off the city, like, block. It's like in the middle of like a city block, where it's like you can't even see the studio like from the street. It's just behind this alley, just hidden off there behind a bar. It's just this is stuff you can't make up. Like this is just like part of the mystique of Ed Wood. The studio, it was called Quality Pictures. And that just makes it so much better. That's what it was called at the time.
Yeah. This movie's had like a cool legacy. It's been referenced many times. I think one of the best Seinfeld episodes, the Chinese restaurant. The whole plot is that they want to eat before they go see Plan 9 and they get stuck there. In X-Files, Mulder says like it's his favorite movie. There's a whole thing about it. And Vampira and the ghoul from Night of the Ghouls shows up in this really good web series called Mummy Cop Season 2. Vampires is she chainsaws a guy to death. So check that out.
Blood. A lot of Ed Wood movies are being discovered now, like lost films that he never had the money to pay the lab to get it processed or whatever. So all these old Ed Wood movies are being discovered. Books he wrote are being discovered. Scripts.
That's cool.
Yeah, like scripts that weren't... People are making his scripts in the movies and stuff like this. So his whole career is happening after his death. So it's a shame that he never got to see all the popularity, but it's just one of those things where now... after death, he has become famous. He made it. He succeeded.
No, he definitely has.
That happens.
And the remake. The remake, because it's actually it's pretty decent.
It's on the remake's on Amazon.
Yeah, it's now. Good. It's for free. You could watch all 3 movies.
And not just
you have to rent Ed Wood, but you have to pay $3.
After you watch Ed Wood and look up all the people's lives, you realize how tragic and terrible it all ended. And speaking of tragic and terrible, let's do the 1-year anniversary of Rental Review. I got us a cake, guys. So you guys,
got us a cake.
I got you a cake.
I'm shocked.
And you guys clear out of here, and I'll set up the gear and cameras again, and we'll do the reveal of the cake and a special item we have as well.
Okay,
I've seen. I can't wait. Cool. I'm excited.
So before we show off the cake, I have something else here to show that our friend Lee at Barnhouse Collective made for us. He's an artist. James, so close your eyes. And Tony and Kieran, can you remove the garment?
Oh, yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you again, Lee. All right, James.
Oh, man. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's got the tapes.
It's his best movie, right?
Wow. Is this for like decoration for next?
Yeah, for if we ever do anything else with stuff, or you know. Add more to the store.
Yeah,
but I figured you enjoy that as the 1 year. But all right, guys, let's get that cake out. You guys hide, I'll get it out. All right. I have an idea. Here's what we're gonna do.
What?
Okay.
I'm gonna open it. You guys are all gonna close your eyes.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna open it so that they see it first.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you to open your eyes. All right.
Okay. Just real quick. Justin's been hyping this up for like months, and I really don't give a shit about cake, but he keeps thinking I care about the cake.
All right, close your eyes or you're going to ruin it, all right? Your eyes are closed?
Your eyes are closed, yeah.
All right, hold on, I got to like carefully do it.
Literally, no one cares. He keeps thinking we're going to sneak in. I'm like, Justin, I don't care about the cake.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
I got you.
Son of a bitch!
A stabbing eyeball cake.
Oh, you're such a dick!
Oh my god!
Oh, come on!
A lovely.
It's got like glasses. Don't do that.
Yo, slice that eyeball.
In fact,
so this was all for Tony then.
What the hell?
Well, it's also for Kieran because I know Kieran can't eat gluten, and I didn't want him to have any cake.
Oh, so you got a gluten cake?
Yeah.
With a giant eyeball that you're gonna stab.
Oh, so theoretically, only James can eat it because you'll die.
Well, can I eat the glass?
I wouldn't eat the glass.
I hate you so goddamn
My friend
much.
Cat Hunter put this together. It took a long time to figure out.
Cat Hunter and Matt Hunter?
Yeah.
It's like a Hellraiser
It even says
cake.
stabbing eyeballs. God damn it.
It says
This is the worst cake I've ever seen.
Oh my god.
The question is, what happens when I cut it open?
Okay, before we do this, let's just make sure we got everything right, that we cross the T's and dot the lowercase j's.
So, Tony, is it more upsetting to go from the side here, or should I go straight iris?
Iris. In the pupil.
Okay, so we want to go like...
I mean, if you want to be real...
Stab it. Stabbing eyeballs.
Oh, come on! What the... That's so... I hate you so much.
What's in there? It's filled with goop. Look at this, Tony. Look in here. Oh, no.
I hate you. Oh, my God.
Tony, you ever think about the stabbing coming out of the eyeball instead? Here you go, Tony. You get the first.
You get the first slice of your
sliver.
birthday boy.
There you go.
Okay, so this was not a 1-year anniversary cake. It was a piss off Tony cake.
Apparently.
Oh, what's the difference? You want some of the glass? It's got broken glass in it. It's not bad. You just kind of have to like test it out a little bit.
Come on!
Oh, Tony, wait, watch it. Ready? Hold on.
He keeps finding new ways to stab it as this goes
on.
on.
It breaks. Oh, here. Can you eat a piece of the eye?
Let me get a little of that. Oh, wow. That iris.
Right, I'm going to try some glass.
Okay.
I'll take a big piece.
Tony, you want
glass.
some of this eyeball?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yo, give me a big piece of that. That iris. Oh, wait, I can't eat this.
We'll see if I can do this. Oh, look, you can take the glass out and put it right in the eye.
I'm done.
Oh, yeah, you can just...
I'm done.
It's like chips and dip.
Chippy. A little chippy dip.
My friend, you have now seen this episode of Rental Reviews on YouTube. Can you prove that it was entertaining or even funny? There's other viewers who are watching other episodes right now, laughing at this moment, right now. Perhaps they laughed when Arnold Schwarzenegger threw a guy off of a cliff. Perhaps to that McDonald's dance scene in Mac and Me. Perhaps to when Macaulay Culkin was in big trouble for not being kind and hitting rewind. And now some of us laugh at a disingenuous and disgusting cake made to incite Tony's stabbing eyeball phobia. God help Cinemassacre in the future.